I'm not going to shy away from it. Let's talk about it.
I'm just trying to make sure that your leadership is not limited and that it goes to the next level, next level.
You're listening to Level Up Leadership. So if you remember, the last time or in the last segment that was recorded, I mentioned that I wanted to get more into mentorship and brand building. And so first we're going to start with mentorship. We're going to kind of see how much I can fit into this particular segment, but I want to kind of just share my heart concerning how to find a mentor, what you should be looking for in a mentor, and how to be a steward of that relationship. So if you haven't got a chance to listen to the previous recordings, a lot of good content on there. They really create a foundation for a lot of what I'm going to discuss today. So please make sure you listen to I Hear Voices, Part 1 and Part 2. Make sure you listen to Gone Missing. A lot of good stuff there for you. To get into this conversation about mentorship. So what is a mentor? How do you find a good mentor? What's the point of having a mentor? Do you need to have a mentor? Well, I highly recommend it. You know, having a mentor or someone who can kind of guide you through your learning can really come in quite handy, especially when you're trying to be the best you can possibly be and you're leveraging the experience of somebody who may have demonstrated a track record of success in the very thing that you're looking to kind of get into. So it's always good to kind of leverage their history and avoid some of the mistakes they may have made, and definitely want to find a mentor who's willing to share those mistakes. You know, a poor mentorship will share the wins only. We only share the wins when you know, but I think a better mentor will be vulnerable enough to let you know things they've done wrong so you can learn from their mistakes, so hopefully avoid some of those mistakes. So we're going to get into it. I definitely recommend you find a mentor. So I want to break this down into two pieces. But before I get there, I want to talk about, while you're considering finding mentorship, please make sure that you set it in your mind to be a steward of the information you're going to get from a mentor. You know, if you're going to have a mentor, you know, good mentors watch for how you manage the seed that they give you. You know, so if they say, here's some seeds, go find some soil and plant the seed. If they think you're not going to be a steward of what they've given you, they may not be as inclined to really give you their best crop. You know, they're going to give you just enough to, you know, they don't want to be a jerk, they want to be courteous. But if you really want to get the best out of your mentor, make sure you're a steward of everything they give you. That means that you're not just coming just to hear something good. You actually have something that you're going to put into action. So my mom would call it having good manners. That means you thank your mentors for taking the time, really build a good relationship with them. You don't want to be perceived as a waste of time. It'll discourage quality mentorship. So make sure that you keep that in mind. So the first part of what I want to get into here, there's two parts that I'm going to break this into. The first part, mentors that give advice and give advantage. Mentors that give advice and advantage. It's really important that you don't get so impressed with information alone. You know, a mentor may give you great advice. They may say a lot of great things, but they have to also, or they should also, be able to give you some type of advantage. Now, I'll kind of describe what I mean by that. I have plenty of examples that I want to share with you where I've had a mentor who said, hey, you have to be able to network and talk to people, and be, you know, they talk to me about how to have good conversation, good communication, and then so that would be the advice. And then they would say, hey, there's an event going on. I have tickets to it. Here, why don't you go ahead and take my place and go to this event and practice what I just told you to do. That's the advantage. Or let's say, hey, there's a conference that I really think you should go to that I go to every year, and I think it's going to offer you so much information that's the advantage. They don't just give advice, they give the advantage. You know, I really think you should think about X, Y, and Z. Here's a book that I'm reading right now that I think will help you to get this same type of. So again, they give you advice, then they give you a pathway to apply that advice that they've given you. A good mentor will do that. If you are a mentor, then you should be providing that for the people that you mentor. You should give them good advice and give them advantage. Give them something that can help, that they can apply what you're telling them. Otherwise, if you're only giving good advice, you don't have mentees. You just have fans, people who admire you, and you're selling yourself, but you're not helping them to come up or to level up. And so good mentors will give advice and the advantage. So I did a teaching series last year. It was called Fire Your Mentor, because too many people are calling people mentors who really aren't mentors. People will, I'll be honest with you, sometimes people will see that you're hungry for information and you're innocent and you don't really know any better, and they see your future. They say, wow, this person has potential. This person could really be great. And they don't really see you as a mentee. They see you as a threat. They see you as the future competition. And so they may give you a lot of advice, but I guarantee you they will never give you an advantage, because they feel that if they give you an advantage, it'll be a threat to them. A good mentor has nothing to lose, nothing to be threatened by. So you cannot afford to have a mentor who is threatened by you, who's jealous of you. I've experienced that early in my works as a leader in different arenas of influence, where I had to detach myself from people who were really just trying to take advantage of gifting and potential that I had to further their own agenda. And I'm thankful that I've had great leaders and great mentors in my life that I could plug into and grow from, who had nothing to gain. They just wanted to impart into my life, and I've had great mentors. So I've seen both sides of this. So I know what to look for. I know what to watch for. So a good mentor will give you advice and advantage. Don't be so impressed with information if there is no application. I wrote a book about leadership called Does Your Network? It's available on Amazon. It's available on all my social media sites. If you haven't gotten it, you can definitely get it. But I talk about mentorship in my book. I talk about how the disciples were mentored by Jesus, how they were students, and how when they first met Jesus, they were fishing in a boat and they had all the right tools. They seemed to have been in the right place, but they weren't getting any results. They hadn't caught any fish. And so Jesus came and gave them a strategy. They did what he told them to do. They experienced a level of success, and they were so excited. And they ran to Jesus. They said, man, he gave us something. It worked. They ran to the source of information. They ran to Jesus. But when they ran to Jesus, they left their nets behind. So two things that I want to talk about that. Two things I want to pull from that. So running to information. Be careful when you're constantly running to information. You're running here to get information, running here to get information, running here to get information. You have to start getting application. Look for the application. Look for the advantage. If that source is not providing you with the advantage, then they're not a suitable mentor, or it's not a suitable source. It may be something that you can just say, hey, this is a good source of information, but you still need direction and application. You still need mentorship. So don't just go running to information if you're not creating a path to have application of the information that you've received. Second piece of that is this. When the disciples ran to Jesus, they left their nets behind. They were so excited that they just ran to meet him. And then later, after Jesus had finished his ministry and he died and was resurrected, he sees the disciples again. They're fishing again. And they were excited because they saw their teacher. And they ran to him again. This time when they ran to him, they brought their nets with them. That means that under the mentorship of Jesus, something changed in the disciples from point A to point B. You can see that growth had taken place, because they went from being eager leaders who just ran to information to being leaders who came with application, who were given an advantage. So don't be so impressed by information that you leave the gifting that you already have behind you. You're running to people who don't even have the gifting that you have. You're running to people because you're impressed with their platforms, you're impressed with the audiences, the crowds that they draw, but you don't even realize you have things at your disposal that are already incredible. Don't leave the things that you already have to run to somebody just to get information when you can't gain anything from them. You have to seek mentors who will teach you how to play with your toys, who will teach you how to be a steward of your skill set, how to help you to develop, help you to grow. So mentors, they can't see you as a threat, and mentors have to be able to give advice and give advantage. A good friend of mine, when I first wrote my book, or when I first talked about writing my book, my first book, I told him the concept, I told him what I wanted to do, and he said, man, you definitely should write this book. You definitely should do this. And matter of fact, I want to buy your first 10 copies. And he gave me the money equivalent to 10 copies for a book that I hadn't even written yet. He said, I want this to go towards any upfront cost, Basically, he made an investment. So he gave me advice and gave an advantage. A good mentor will not be afraid to do that. So again, be a mentor that can give advice and the advantage. Or if you're seeking out a mentor, make sure your mentor offers you the advice and the advantage. Now, the advantage is just that. It gives you an element of favor. It gives you a boost up, but you still have to do the work. So that's the second part I want to kind of talk through now is life provides the classroom, but you have to provide the student. Again, life provides the classroom. You have to provide the student. You have to do the work. You are responsible for your own growth. Life is going to give you certain circumstances, challenges that you'll go through, things that you'll have to overcome, different things that are going to happen in your life. And that is the classroom for which you learn, the classroom of failure, the classroom of taking a risk, the classroom of believing it. I mean, life is going to offer you situations for you to learn from and to learn through. It's your responsibility to show up as the learner. You have to be the student. You have to be able to grow through the things that you go through. You are responsible for your own growth. Anytime you make another person responsible for your growth, that's not mentoring, that's parenting. Again, you are responsible for your own growth. If you're looking to have a mentor, it's not their responsibility to guarantee you success. They'll give you the advantage. They'll provide you with an advantage. But again, you have to be a steward of the information that you receive from your mentor. So if your mentor gives you seed, you got to be the one to plant it. You have to be the one to water it. You have to be the one to harvest the crop. You are responsible for your growth. If you put them in charge, number one, that's dangerous. To put another person responsible for your own growth. And I've been in places professionally, where you can't find a mentor, so you can't find people who will give you the advantage. So you just sit there. No. You go find a mentor. If you have to reach outside of your sphere of influence, if you have to reach outside of your organization, if you have to reach outside of your department, you have to find the mentor. Don't just limit it to what's in front of you, because you're responsible for your own growth. But you can't put that responsibility on your mentor, because again, that is parenting. So you must provide the student. Your mentor will provide a learning environment. They'll provide an agenda or a plan of what that relationship will look like. But you have to show up as the student. You have to understand the relationship between a mentor and a mentee. It should be a give and take. So you bring something to that mentor. You bring, number one, someone who's going to be responsible with the information that they're giving. Because again, if you're not giving them that, they're not going to want to make the investment. They're going to see you as a waste of time. I'm saying it plainly. They're so nice, they're not going to tell you that, but they don't want their time wasted. A good mentor, who is really a good mentor, understands that what they have is valuable, and they will quickly perceive if you are a waste of time to them. So you want to make sure that you're being a steward of the information that they're giving you. And you have to understand that you bring something to the table. You bring a student, someone who won't waste what they're giving. And, we're going to have to split this into two parts. There's so much that I want to give you, so much that I want to make sure that you have, and I don't want to shortchange you. So let's make sure that we stay in the lines of this. We're going to talk about mentorship more. Make sure that you're tuning into the next series. We're going to make sure we do this until we're done. And I'm going to make sure that you are equipped to identify with someone who has the potential to be a great mentor. And if you are a mentor, I hope you can gain some insight from what I'm sharing to make sure that you're being a great mentor from those who leverage your expertise and who leverage your experience. I am so excited that leaders are coming forward to be effective, and I'm just happy to be a part of your learning process.
The next level.